Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday. Hopefully, you enjoyed some time off. I know I sure did. So, I missed you guys last week. So, hopefully, you guys are all here ready to go. Gonna have a really fun live stream today. I am just gonna pull my chat up here, see what you guys are up to. And then we'll get started in just a second. But make sure if you guys don't follow us on Discord just yet, make sure you join us on Discord so that way you can always see our announcements, and that way you can also see exactly what products we're going to be using during our live streams. I always like to announce that so that way you guys can kind of have an idea of what we're going to be working with, and then you can gather up all of your products and you can work along with me. So I love to have you guys working along with me. That way you can ask your questions as we're going, and you can just have some fun along with me. Let's see, Desiree's asking, what are we working on today? You guys, today we are going to be starting some Christmas nails. I know that we just finished Thanksgiving, but I'm telling you guys, Christmas is going to be here before you know it. So we got to get into our Christmas nails. Later in the week, we're going to try to do maybe some, I don't know. We'll see what we're going to do later in the week. But you guys, I feel like we got to get all of our holiday nails in here pretty quick because the holidays are going to be here. I can't believe Thanksgiving is already over. If you missed it, hopefully you didn't miss it, but our Black Friday sale is done now. You guys, I can't believe it. I don't know where the time is going. So today we are going to jump into some Christmas nails, some beautiful red and green glitter, and some Christmas trees. And hopefully you guys are gathering up all of your products and you're going to work along with me here as well. But I'm just getting my nails ready to go here, just kind of shortening them up a little bit. Whenever I do sculpted nails, or even tips for that matter, I'd like to shorten up the natural nails a little bit so that way I'm not fighting with that extra free edge when I try to put my form on, or even if I'm putting a tip on. I like to take down that free edge a little bit. So like I said, I'm not going to be fighting with that tip or fighting with that natural free edge. So after we shorten up the nails, first thing we're going to do for our prep is we're going to push back the cuticles. Now, I know on our trainer hand, the trainer hand doesn't really have cuticles, but I always tell you guys in my classes here that whatever you practice on the trainer hand is what you're going to remember to do when you come to real clients or working on yourself. So you always want to make sure that you stay in that routine and practice exactly what you're going to be doing on the nails, on the real nails. That's what you want to be doing on your trainer hand. So always make sure that you push back the cuticles, or at least simulate pushing back the cuticles. And also always grab a fresh, brand new sanding band. So this way you're going to have the proper grit to your sanding band. You're also going to have a nice clean sanding band, and you're going to be ready to go for those real nails. All right, I'm going to turn my e-file on to I'm actually on about 4,000 RPMs. If you guys got our new e-file, you're going to notice that you can actually work at lower speeds when you're prepping and when you're taking down bulk. You can actually work at lower speeds than we did with our other e-file. So with our other e-file, I would usually recommend about 5,000 RPMs, but honestly with our new one, you guys, this is a brushless motor. It's super quiet. And it has really high torque, so you can actually work at, I would say, anywhere 2,000 to 4,000 RPMs. So even a little bit lower than the other one. So lots of different things coming around with our new products. And you guys, I love that you're all here with us, joining us, so that you can learn how to use all of our new products and some of our classic products. So all I did was just gently prep that cuticle area, removing the shine, and kind of just feathered my bit through that nail. And I'm going to grab my brush. We're going to just dust off those nails a little bit, get some of that excess dust off of there. Try to remove as much of that dust as possible. And then we're going to grab our swipe. And you guys, I told you last time I saw you, I needed to refill my swipe. I'll be honest, I haven't refilled it yet. But you can refill the swipe, you can refill the 8-ounce bottles here. We do have a larger size to refill those, but I haven't done that yet. So Maybe today I'll get that refilled. But I am going to pump a little bit of that swipe onto my manicure brush. And we'll come through and just give those nails a good scrub. Now what swipe is, this is our cleanser. So this is what we're going to use to really clean that nail off, get any of those last little tiny particles of dust off of there. I'm going to add a little bit more swipe to my brush there. And it's going to leave us with a nice clean, dry surface. It's also going to take care of the surface oils that might be on that nail. So again, we're going to have a nice, clean, dry surface. And it's also, last thing it's going to do is going to give us a dry or a clean surface with no bacteria. So that swipe is going to take care of any bacteria that might be on there so we don't get any little greenies on our nail or anything like that. Now, next thing we're going to use is our protein bond. You guys, if you do nails and you haven't tried protein bond, I'm telling you, you're missing out. I always tell you when you're missing out on things if you're not using them. But protein bond is our bonder. Let me grab that little tiny piece of fuzz there. But protein bond is our bonder, and it works like a double-sided tape. So it's going to stick down to that natural nail, but then it's going to leave a sticky surface to grab onto our acrylic or our hard gel, or even your gel polish, actually even your air dry polishes if you're working with those. But it's going to give you just that little bit more adhesion so that your product is going to stick a lot better. Now notice that as I apply my protein bond, I start about kind of halfway up the nail and towards the center of the nail. This way I'm not going to flood that protein bond onto the cuticle or onto those sidewalls, and it's going to keep that product on the nail. You guys, our protein bond is a non-acid bonder. It's not a primer, so it doesn't have the methacrylic acid that other primers do, but it is a chemical, and whatever chemical you're working with, whether it's acrylics, gels, even regular polish, you want to keep the product off the skin as much as possible. So that's why I start in the center and I work out to the sides. So this way I'm not flooding that product onto the skin. It's not going to touch the cuticle and it's not going to irritate the skin at all. Now, one other thing I want you to notice that I am doing 2 coats of the protein bond. When I work with my enhancements, either acrylics, hard gels, tips, things like that, I always like to use 2 coats of protein bond just to make sure that I've got full coverage with that and I'm going to have really good adhesion. All right, so our nails are prepped. We are ready to go. And today, you guys, I don't always use our extra long forms, but today I think I'm going to use our extra long ones. We're going to do a little bit of a longer, kind of a tapered square, maybe even to a coffin shape. So I do like to use the extra long forms for that. So I'm just going to peel off one of my forms here. I'm going to take that little tab out of the center and I'm going to stick that on the back. You guys, we've got our little dancing ghost. I always have to show you the little dancing ghost. So the little dancing ghost, he goes on the back of our form. And then I'm going to pinch the tabs together. So these 2 tabs here are going to come together. These 2 tabs here are going to come together. These tabs I'm not going to pinch together at this point. Okay, so we're just going to kind of, whoops, I'm going to drop our form here. I'm going to roll my form over. Now, as you can see, as I'm rolling that, by putting that little tab on the back, that's actually giving my form a little bit more structure, a little bit more of a firm feeling, so it doesn't feel loose and flimsy. It's got a little bit more support to it. So when I pinch my form, I'm going to roll that over, pinch those tabs together as evenly as I can get them. Now again, I'm not pinching the top up here, just these 2 ones down at the bottom. So that's going to give me more of that tapered shape. So this way we can do more of a coffin shape. If you wanted to do a stiletto, a really long stiletto, you can definitely do that. Now we're going to open up the top. There's a little bit of a perforation right up there. We're going to open that up and bring our hand right up here. What I'm going to do, you guys, I'm going to show you this from the side view. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to just take my form and shove that right up underneath that nail. Okay, I'm not just going to push that right up under there. What that tends to do is that tends to push into the hyponychium. And what that is, that's your skin underneath your nail. And you don't want to be pushing into that skin because it's a very delicate skin and it's not going to feel too good if you just shove that form right up under there. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to bring my form at a slight downward angle. I'm going to bring that edge right up underneath my free edge, catch that free edge, and then we're going to lift up at the end of the form until that form comes straight out. You guys, I want you to see something. We've got a perfect view right here. Do you see how the light is reflecting from this corner here down to the point on our form? That light reflection is going to be your guide. That's where you're going to be building your acrylic or your gel, whatever you're working with. That's the line that you're going to be building your acrylic out on. And you can also see that there are those little bold lines on the form as well. That can also be your guide as well. But just I like to point that out because sometimes it's another good visual so that you can see exactly that your form is positioned nice and straight. Okay. All right, we're going to take a look at that. That looks like it's just shifted off a little bit. So if we take a look, I want to make sure that my form is coming straight out from that finger, and it actually looks like it's at just a slight angle here. So I'm going to just open that up real quick, shift that back over, still making sure my form is nice and straight, and then I'm going to pinch that together, securing that down on the sides. So now my form is nice and straight out from the nail. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to be creating a nail quite this long today. We're going to bring that down a little bit shorter, maybe to about 7 or so. You can kind of see that right on the form. There's those little numbers that are going to be your guide. So I'm going to pinch my form down a little bit more. So this way I can bring my product out maybe to about 6 or so, and we'll be good. So that's by pinching that shorter, we're going to be able to create a shorter nail, but it's still going to have the proper structure to it. Now, one other thing that I like to do, if I am working with these extra long forms and I pinch them a little bit shorter, I don't need that extra form in the way. And sometimes as you're working and you're kind of pressing out your acrylic, that little end may get in the way. So I like to just take my scissors and I'll snip off that end just so I don't have that in my way when I'm working. Okay. So just a couple of little different helpful hints for you. Now today we're going to start sculpting, and you guys, I'm going to take you through some basic techniques with our Cover Pink acrylic. So this is just kind of a good standard acrylic that I use. One of my favorite colors. It is an opaque pink, and I really like it for if I'm just doing maybe a nude set and I just want just a solid color. Sometimes I'm going to use that if I work and I do maybe a gel polish over the top. So I'm going to do a couple of nails with the Cover Pink, and then we're going to get into some glitter applications because I know you guys, it's the holidays. Everybody loves glitter around the holidays especially. So I do have my old monomer in there. You can see I do have some glitter in there from some nails that I've already done. So I do want to soak up my monomer, and I always want to start with fresh liquid. So this way I have really good consistency to my product, and I can also clean out those last little bits of glitter that are in there because I don't want those little pieces of glitter in there when I do my solid color nail. Now I'm going to tell you guys one other thing that might make your life easier and is something that I should be doing is I actually have 2 different Dappen dishes. I usually have one that I work with my pink and whites or my solid colors, and then one that I use for my glitter applications. But I've been kind of not paying attention to my own rules, and so now I actually have to spend a little bit more time trying to clean out that glitter from my Dappen dish here. So it's going to help you guys if you do a lot of glitter applications, but you also do a lot of solid color applications. If you have 2 separate Dappen dishes for your one for glitter, one for solid colors, it's going to just help you in the long run. So that way you don't end up with glitter in your solid colors. So I'm going to grab my monomer, and today we're using our traditional system. We do have an extreme low odor system, but I'm just working with our traditional today. If you are doing, or if you are using our extreme low odor system, make sure that you're using our extreme low odor liquid and extreme low odor powder. You don't want to mix and match the traditional liquid and powder with the extreme low odor. They're not going to set up properly, but you can do the glitter mix that I'm going to show you after a while. So you can do that whether you're working with the extreme low odor or the traditional. Okay, got a couple of little table towels here. It's just the same table towels that I've got down on my whole station. I just like to cut those up so I've got a little bit of a clean space to wipe my brush. Now we're going to start by sculpting out, like I said, just our solid color nail here. Make sure you guys are going to be able to see everything right on. Okay, so we're going to start by picking up our acrylic with our proper consistency. So when we're trying to get proper consistency, guys, I want you to see this really well. There we go. Let's just start right here. So when we're picking up our pearl, I'm actually going to dab my brush down into my Dappen dish, and this is going to release any air bubbles that may be trapped in those bristles. So just give it a quick little dab. I don't just put my brush straight down in there and dip just into the liquid. I actually press that down to the bottom of the dish, so that way it's going to, again, release those air bubbles. Now, when I pick up my brush, I'm going to lift my brush out. I'm going to tap the back side of my brush on my Dappen dish. Now notice that I don't just drag my brush. I don't wipe out all of that liquid out of there. If you take your brush and you drag all of that liquid, you're not going to be able to pick up a large pearl. So you want to adjust the amount of liquid in your brush to the amount of powder that you're going to pick up. So if you're going to pick up a large pearl, all I'm going to do is I'm going to tap the back side of my brush just gently one time. So that way it really is, my brush is really fully saturated with the liquid, and I'll be able to pick up a large pearl. If I want maybe a medium pearl, I'll tap once and then maybe I'll tap a second time. Every time you tap your brush on the back, it's going to release liquid and you're going to be able to pick up a smaller pearl. So again, if you want a large pearl, tap once, you're going to be able to pick up a large pearl. If you want a medium pearl, tap once, tap twice. If you want a small pearl, tap once, tap twice, tap 3 times, maybe even 4 times. The more times you release liquid from your brush, the smaller amount of powder you're going to be able to pick up. Okay, so let's pick up a fairly large size pearl. So again, I'm going to tap the back side of my brush. Now I've released the liquid from the back side of my brush. Now I want to use the front side of my brush to pick up my pearl because that's where all of the liquid is. Okay, so again, we're going to tap the back side. I'm going to turn my brush over. Now I'm going to come into my powder at about a 45-degree angle. So this is the angle that I'm coming into my powder. I'm going to do kind of a press and pull. So I'm not just going to stab my brush down into that powder. Do you see how messy my brush is? If I do that, I'm going to have product on both sides. And then if I try to set that onto the nail, it's just going to be clogging my brush. Okay, so I don't want to just stab my product. Let me clean that off of my nail here quick. So what I want to do is I'm going to do more of a press and pull motion in one. So it's going to be kind of a press and pull, almost like maybe a scoop. Okay, so again, we're going to tap the back side of my brush. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce. Now, did you see what happened? When I did that press and pull, let me tap this down here. Okay, when I did that press and pull, it pulls product away from the back side of the brush, so you're not going to get that brush clogging with product. So again, press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. That's going to keep the back side of your brush clean. It's going to pick up a nice pearl on the front side. And that way, when you set your pearl onto the nail, you're going to press that down. It's going to release completely from your brush, and you're not going to end up clogging up your brush. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're picking up your product properly. I'm going to get a nice clean table towel here. Always make sure that you're wiping your brush on a nice clean space on your table towel. So that way, again, you're going to get a nice pearl every time. Now, when we apply our product, we're going to go ahead and pick up a pretty large pearl. So when we're working on our free edge, we actually want to have really good control of our product. So guys, I want to show you something really quick here, and then we'll do the application, I promise. But I want to make sure that you understand how to work with the acrylic. So when we pick up our pearl, if we pick that up, we press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. If we just take that pearl and we set that right onto our form, look how fast that product is going to run. It's going to move, it's going to flow, it's going to kind of run down that form. I'm really going to have to chase that to make that stay in place. And you can actually see it's going to start to gunk up my brush a little bit. So I want to make sure I clean out my brush there. But as I'm working, I don't want to have to be chasing my product all over the place. I don't want to have it running out of control. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to turn that pearl into more of a clay form. So we're going to, again, press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. Now I'm going to wait until my product has absorbed. So all of that powder has absorbed into the pearl. Then I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to set the back side onto the table towel. I'm going to drain out the liquid. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. What that's going to do, let me grab my form again, is that's going to take out that extra liquid. I'm going to be able to set that onto my form. Now you can see it's not going to run. It is going to soften just a little bit. And now I have complete control on where my product is going. I can tuck in on the sides, keep those edges nice and clean, tuck in on that free edge. You guys, you can completely move and mold your product exactly where you want it, and it's not running like this one was. Okay, so that's how we're going to create our free edge extension. We're going to work in more of a clay form. So again, we're going to dab our brush down into the liquid. I'm going to tap out the back side. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to let that powder absorb. Drain 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to set that onto my form. I'm going to give that a little bit of a press down. I'm going to wipe out my brush. I'm going to use the fat part of my brush to press that product so it's even from side to side. Clean out my brush one more time. I'm going to use the edge of my brush to tuck in on the sides, and then I'm going to press up into the corner. Tuck in, press up into the corner. Tuck in on the side. Now I'm going to walk my brush all the way across the nail, coming back over to my left side here. I'm going to do the same thing. Tuck straight in, and then I'm going to press that bulky product up into the corner. Straight in on the sides, up into the corner. Once I've got that little corner tucked in, then I'm going to come back through, again, press from side to side to make sure my product is nice and even. And then I'm going to start to pull that product down the length of the nail. Tucking in on the side using the edge of my brush, pressing across the nail. And you guys, to get a little bit more, right now we've got more of a square kind of a shape. If we want a little bit more of that coffin shape, I'm just going to start to bring that product more to the point down here. Okay, tucking in on the sides, tapering that in on the sides, still pressing across the top of the nail to make sure that my product stays nice and even in the thickness. Tucking in on the sides, tucking in on the sides, tapering that all the way across. Once I have my product right where I want it, I'm just going to kind of blend through, flow through that product, making sure it's nice and smooth all the way through. Okay. All right. Do you guys think you can do that? Does that look easy enough for our free edge? Let me know in the chat. Put some little, either put some hearts in the chat or put a little thumbs up in the chat if you think that you could do that application. Okay. Once you get that application, then you can do pretty much any kind of a sculpted nail, but you have to make sure that you know how to control your product in order to move on to the next step. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So our next step is going to be basically doing an overlay from the cuticle through the free edge. Now, when we're working and doing that overlay back by our cuticle area, this product we actually want to flow a little bit more. Okay, so with this one, we're not going to drain it out. We're not going to bring it to clay-like form, but we are going to just kind of pause for a second. So press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to make sure that all of that powder absorbs, and then I'm going to just wait for maybe 4 to 5 seconds or so. And you guys, I want you to see what happens. I'm going to come in nice and close here. So I'm going to pick up our pearl. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. I want you to look. Do you see? Oops. All right, you guys, I'm going to pick up a pearl and then I'll get it into camera. So I want you to see the consistency. I want you to see the texture of the pearl. It's got kind of an orange peel texture, but then after about 4 to 5 seconds or so, that texture is going to melt out a little bit more. Now you're seeing it going to a little bit more of a smooth surface, more of an actual pearl kind of a look. And that's exactly what we want when we go onto that cuticle area. So we don't want the pearl in that textured form. We want to give it just a little bit of time to just kind of look like a pearl. So we're going to wait 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like a pearl. Now, something else, you guys, I'm going to show you this before we actually do the application. You want to make sure that you're angling the finger downward. So this way your product is going to flow down the length of the nail rather than if you had the nail flat like this and you apply your product here, what's going to happen is your product is going to flow down the sides and it's not going to go down the length of the nail. It's going to cause a mess and you're going to have a lot of issues if you don't angle that finger down. Okay, so again, let's go ahead and pick up our pearl. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. We're going to set that at our cuticle. I'm going to give it some pressure. I'm going to lift up. I'm going to press, press, pivot my brush into the corner here. Press, press, pivot my brush. Now, I'm just letting this product flow down the length of the nail, kind of tucking in on those sides if I need to. Once that product has stopped moving, I'm going to lift up and then I'm going to use just the point of my brush to blend out just the edge of that pearl. Okay. Now, you guys, when I say I pivot my brush on the sides, what I mean by that is here I'm working with my brush flat. When I get to the side, I turn that brush on the side and I use kind of that point of my brush. Same thing over here, pivot my brush, turn that brush on the side. This way I can really use that brush to tuck in on those edges and really taper in those edges. If you're just brushing that whole nail flat with your brush flat, you're going to end up pushing that product off the sides and your product is going to get down along your sidewall here. By pivoting and turning your brush, you're going to use your brush kind of as a barrier to keep that product on the nail rather than running down the sides. Okay, let's go ahead and grab another pearl because you guys, you can see from the side view, we've built up the structure in that back over the nail body area. Now we just need to fill in this little dip right in our free edge. So now we're going to take a second pearl here. With this one, we're actually going to create almost right in between. So right in between the consistency that we used on our free edge and the consistency that we used back here over the nail body. So we're not going to bring it completely to clay-like form like we used on the free edge, but we're not going to leave it in complete wet form like we used in the cuticle area. We're going to drain out just a little bit of the liquid. So this one I'm actually going to pick up a smaller pearl. So I'm going to tap my brush twice. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce. I'm going to take that pearl and just give it a quick 1, 2, and I'm going to turn my brush around, set that pearl onto the nail, and I'm going to blend back. Pivot my brush on the side, blend back, come back through the center, pivot my brush on the side, blend back. I'm going to wipe out my brush. Now I'm going to use the fat part of my brush to press that product. Same thing on the other side here, press that product and just start to blend that down the length of the nail. Once we get there, I'm going to clean out my brush and I'm just going to feather my brush through to blend that product right down to the free edge. Now, if you feel like maybe you need to pull a little bit more of that product back to that stress area, turn your brush around and you can blend backwards. Whichever direction you're pulling your brush, that's the direction that you're going to pull your product. So if you need more bulk in that stress area, pull your brush back to the stress area. If you need more product at your free edge, pull your brush towards your free edge, okay? All right, so we've got our first nail done here. Now let's go ahead and do our second nail. And let me grab another form. And same thing, we're going to take that little tab out of the center. I'm going to pop that right on the back side. I'm going to pinch my forms together nice and evenly right at that free edge. We'll open up that top part. We'll get our form right up underneath that free edge. Catch that edge, rock that up, secure that down on the sides, and then we're going to pinch our form a little bit shorter, maybe down to about 7. Secure that underneath. We will snip off that excess that we don't need. And grab my table towel there. That definitely was not straight. Let's make sure that is nice and straight on the nail. Okay, I think we're good there. Same thing, you guys. We're going to go through that whole process one more time. So again, tap the back side of my brush. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to allow that powder to absorb. I'm going to drain the liquid. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to set that right down on my form in front of that nail. I'm going to wipe out my brush. I'm going to press that product even from side to side. I'm going to tuck in using the edge of my brush, walk that product up into the corner, tuck in on the edge, walk all the way back across, clean out my brush if I need to, bring that product straight in on the edge, and then again walk up into the corner, tuck in on the edge, walk up into the corner, in on the edge. Once I've got that little corner in there, I'm going to just come through pressing that product, pulling that product down the length of the nail, tucking in on those sides still, tucking in on the sides, walking that product across, keeping it nice and even from side to side, and then just bringing that a little bit more tapered, a little bit more to the point of the form, creating a little bit more of that tapered square or even into a coffin shape. Again, tucking in, pressing across, tucking in, pressing across. I'm just going to blend my product back just a little bit, keeping that nice and smooth. And maybe we'll just tuck in this corner here just a little bit more to create a little bit more of that coffin, a little bit more of that tapered shape. Okay. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to pick up our pearl again. And you guys, I always like to tap down my powder. So this way I've got a nice clean space to pick up my pearl. So that way you are always going to pick up a nice consistent pearl. Okay, press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one we're just going to wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to set that right at the cuticle area. My finger is angled downward. I'm going to press, press, pivot my brush on those corners. I'm going to wipe my brush out a little bit, press, press, pivot, making sure that my finger is angled downward so that way the product is going to flow down the length of the nail. Once it stops moving, I'm going to lift up. I'm going to use my brush, pivot my brush on the side, blend out that edge. Blend out that edge. Same thing over on the other side. Pivot my brush, turn my brush on the edge, and then we're just going to blend out just the edge of that pearl. So that way we're leaving more of that bulk right there in that stress area, but we're just blending out to blend that into our free edge. All right, same thing on that free edge. I'm going to pick up a little pearl, press in, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one I'm just going to tap 1, 2, turn my brush around. We're going to set that right down in the low spot, blend back, pivot my brush on the side, blend back. I'm going to wipe my brush that time because it felt like a little bit of product. I picked up a little bit with my brush there. I want to make sure that I'm not trying to brush through with that product on my brush because otherwise that's going to start to clog up my brush. So clean out your brush as needed. If it ever feels like product is sticking to your brush, wipe out your brush. And then again, we're just kind of pressing across from side to side, pressing that product even from side to side, making sure that it's even thickness from side to side. And then we'll just blend through down to that free edge. I'm going to blend this back just a little bit so I can pull a little bit more of that product back up to my arch. And you guys, I know that the nails aren't perfect. Now remember, when you're sculpting, you're not going to have a perfectly smooth finish. That's what you're going to do your filing and finishing for, okay? And I'm going to file and finish these a little bit later, but I've got some ones that I'm going to swap out for you. But I do want to get to some more of our glitter applications. So we're going to still use these same applications, but for Christmas, you guys, for the holidays, a lot of our clients like to use glitters, and a lot of us just like to have glitter on our own nails. So I'm going to show you a really quick and easy glitter mixture that you can create, and then we'll apply that to the nails here. So I'm going to start with, I've got 3 different glitters that I'm going to be using. The first one is one of our reds. This one is called Tail Lights. This is a beautiful, beautiful sparkly red, perfect for Christmas. And then we've got, the next one is called Play Every Darn Day. And this one is actually a mixture. So this one has, let me grab my little scooper here. This one has some finer glitter in there, but it also has some of that bigger, chunkier glitter. Let's see, there you guys can see. So you can see it's a mixture of that finer glitter, but then those little chunkier ones. So we've got that one. And then we're also going to be using our silver hollow trees. So those are going to be super cute in our nail. We're actually not going to mix this one in. We're going to layer that one in. But when you're mixing your glitters, I'm going to work with my Speed Clear on this nail. So I'm going to start with Speed Clear, and I've got just a little Dappen dish. You guys, if you're just creating just the amount that you need for maybe one set of nails, then use your small Dappen dish. If you're trying to create, maybe you're going to, oops, I'm dropping things here. I want to show you guys something. If you're going to be using this glitter mixture for a lot of your clients, which around the holidays, I would probably grab one of our mixing jars. So this way you can have that, that glitter mix and you can store that. So this way you can use it on a lot of different clients and you don't have to mix it every single time. So what I'm going to do to mix my glitter into my acrylic, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 scoops of acrylic. Now you guys, I'm going to tell you a good ratio to follow is 3 to 1. So 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. Now here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and measure all of this out. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, but just for those of you that are beginners, 3 to 1. So 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. So 3 parts of my acrylic, I already put that in. To get 1 part of glitter, I'm going to do a 1/2 scoop of red and a 1/2 scoop of green. So that's going to give me my 1 part of glitter. So let's grab a 1/2 scoop of red into our Dappen dish. And you guys, when you're working with the mixtures here that have more of that chunky and the finer, give that a quick stir and kind of scoop up some of those finer glitters from the bottom. Sometimes they settle down in there. So make sure to get a little bit of each. So that way you've got some of those finer glitters and you've also got some of those chunkier glitters. So that was my 1/2 scoop of that one. So again, 3 to 1 is about the ratio. Now I say it's about the ratio because sometimes I want to work with a little more glitter, sometimes I want to work a little less glitter, but it's good. The 3 to 1 is a good kind of a starting point. Okay. Now, once I have that mixture, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to do a test pearl. So I'm going to pick up just a small pearl here to kind of check my consistency and see where that's at. See if I feel like I need any more glitter. What do you guys think? A little more glitter? I think I need a little bit more of that red in there. So I'm going to take just another little partial scoop maybe of the red. And again, you guys, this is why I say it's about a 3 to 1 mixture. So don't worry too much if it's not exact. And you guys, I think I actually want a little bit more of the green, but I don't want as much of the chunky. So I'm going to kind of dig down in there, see if I can scoop up a little bit more of that finer part. Maybe I can't. That's okay. There we go. We'll add a little bit more of that. You know what? Let me see here. I'm actually going to grab one other glitter because I want just a little bit more of the solid glitter. So we've got one of our solid ones is called Greenlit. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that in, just so I have a little bit more of that, that finer green. I think that's going to work good. So you guys, those of you that were following us on Discord, I'm sorry I'm adding in something extra that I didn't post there for you. But it's always fun, you guys. This is the fun part about doing nails is you can add your own colors, you can customize, you can custom mix and create whatever you want. Now I am going to add a little bit more acrylic to that because I added some more glitter and I think it was going to start to get a little too chunky. So let's go ahead and add that in. Let's do our test pearl and see how that's looking. Okay, now I feel like I'm going to get a little bit more bold coverage with that. So we're going to go with that mixture. Okay, are you guys ready? Should we do a nail here? You guys excited to see our acrylic mixture, our glitter mixture? I hope you are. If you can put some Christmas trees or something into the chat, put something Christmassy, put something holiday-ish in the chat. So that way I know you guys are ready to see this. Now, I'm just going to grab a few extra table towels here. And we've got our next nail prepped and ready to go. We're going to grab one more form. Pop that right on the back. Pinch our forms together. Or pinch our tabs together. And then we'll go ahead and open up that top perforation. Let's get our form up underneath here. All right, you guys, I'm seeing that in the chat. I love to see all of your little your hearts in the chat, and I still haven't seen Christmas trees. Did anybody have Christmas trees? You guys gonna put some Christmas trees in the chat? Let me see those. While I get my form on here, again, I'm going to pinch my form down here. Somebody said peppermint. You guys, we actually did, let's see, what day was it? Not last week, but the week before. We did some red and whites and candy cane stripes. So make sure to check out our videos here on YouTube. So I know we did some candy canes and peppermints and all of that kind of fun stuff. So make sure to check those out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you guys can see all of those videos as well. All right. Now, here's the thing. I showed you all of those techniques with our Cover Pink acrylic. We're going to kind of modify those techniques a little bit when we're doing our dimensional nail. So I'm still going to start with our free edge, and we're going to still create that extension. But with our speed clear, the speed clear is going to set up just a little bit faster than our cover. So I'm going to take that pearl, I'm going to drain out 1, 2, 3 this time. Because again, it's going to set up a little faster, so I don't want to drain out all of that liquid. So with our Cover Pink, you guys, let me show you this one more time here. With our Cover Pink, I drained that out 1, 2, 3, 4. Now with our Speed Clear, because it's a faster setting product, I'm only going to drain 1, 2, 3. I want to leave some of that extra liquid in there so I've got a little bit more working time. And we're going to wipe out my brush. But we're going to do that same application. I'm going to just press that out from side to side, tuck in on my edges, walk up into that side. Now you guys, again, the Speed Clear is a faster setting product, so I do need to work a little bit quicker. But that's why I like to show you these techniques with the Cover Pink first, because the Cover Pink is a more medium set time, so you've got a little bit more time to work with that. If you're just starting out and you're just practicing, I would definitely practice with either the Cover Pink, or we also have a slower setting system, which is our core powders. So the core powders are a slower, the cover colors are more of a medium set, and then our speed powders are more of a faster set. But I am doing the same exact application, the same exact techniques, tucking in on the sides, making sure everything is even across the nail. Now, this is where it's going to start to get a little bit different. We're going to create an ombre, and I think I'm going to ombre it from the cuticle forward. So we're going to use our glitter mixture from the cuticle forward, but I'm going to just kind of fade it out at the end so we have a little bit more of a glass nail at the end. Now, because I'm going to be putting that glitter mixture up on that natural nail, I'm actually going to take a small little pearl, 1, 2, keep that fairly wet. I'm going to set that up by my cuticle area. I'm going to just press that out and just blend that through. Now, I'm not trying to create any thickness. I'm not trying to create any structure. What I'm trying to do with that pearl is basically give myself a barrier between my glitter that I'm going to apply and that natural nail. So this way, when I go to change out my design, I'm not going to end up filing down all the way to that natural nail. I can just file off my glitter to change out the design after Christmas. So let's go ahead and grab our glitter mixture here. Again, our kind of our 3-to-1 ratio with our acrylic to glitter. So I'm going to pick up, oh, you guys, one other thing I forgot I was going to show you. We're going to add in some of our silver hollow Christmas trees. So I'm going to take a few of those. I'm just going to kind of pinch in there, grab a few of those, and I'm just going to sprinkle those onto my table towel. So that way I can just grab them right off of my table towel. And by kind of just sifting them through your fingers, that's going to help to kind of separate them so that you can pick them up a little bit easier. All right, let's go ahead and add our glitter mixture. Same thing, we're going to pick up our pearl. And this one I'm going to just set right at my cuticle area. Now, I think I'm going to keep that a little farther away because I've got those bigger, chunkier ones. I'm just going to kind of tuck that glitter right up to the cuticle. If I set that right at my cuticle, just like I did with my Cover Pink, I probably was going to get too much of those big, chunkier ones up at the cuticle. So I'm just kind of keeping this a little bit on the wetter consistency, and then just starting to blend that down. Now, you guys notice I'm keeping this very thin. I'm not trying to build up any structure with this. I'm just adding the glitter acrylic to create color. I'm going to build up structure after this, but I'm just kind of pressing through, pulling that product down the length of the nail, keeping it nice and thin. I think I'm going to add a little bit more. I want this to blend a little bit farther down, but you guys, you do you. If you like the glitter where it's at, you could just leave it right there and have a glass nail on the free edge. But I think I'm going to pick up just a tiny little bit more, just a small little pearl. Again, keeping that wet. I'm going to just set that right down and let that color just, or the glitter just kind of blend out a little bit. I think maybe just one more tiny. And you guys, sometimes when I am doing my dimensional looks, my glitter designs, I try to work a little bit more in smaller pearls. So this way I don't overdo it. If I only want to add a little bit, I'll add just a little bit. Okay, so just kind of work how you're comfortable. And then I'm just going to kind of tap through that edge, just fading out that edge a little bit. Now, at this point, I'm going to use my brush. I'm going to touch those little Christmas trees, and I'm going to set that down into my wet acrylic. Now, if you get to the point where maybe your acrylic right back here, it's a little bit dry, and that Christmas tree isn't sticking to it, grab just a tiny, tiny little bit of that speed clear, brush that through, and that almost is going to re-wet the surface. So then you can add in your Christmas tree onto that wet surface. You guys, I'm going to give you a little hint. With these Christmas trees, I like to keep them more towards the center of the nail. So this way they're not going to be sticking off on the sides. Okay? If you have them poking off on the sides and you cap them and then you do your filing and finishing, chances are you're going to file off the little edges of it. So if I keep those more towards the center, I'm going to ensure that I've got enough acrylic over the top of them to seal them. And I'm just turning my brush around. I'm using the handle of my brush just to kind of press that down into that acrylic. So that way it's going to hold it a little bit deeper down into that nail. Okay. All right. So now that we've got our glitter on there, again, you guys notice there is not much thickness to this nail at all. So now we need to cap this just like we did on our pink. We're going to cap it from the cuticle all the way through the free edge, and that's what we're going to use to seal in our design. So this way when we go to file and finish our nail, we're not going to file off our design. Okay. Same thing though, we're going to use our speed clear. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. Again, we're going to wait 1, 2, 3, maybe just 4 on this one. Set that down. I'm going to press around my cuticle area, angling that finger downward, tucking in around those edges. And then again, we're going to just blend out the edge of that pearl. Blending that out, blending that out. Now once you get that clear on there, now you can really start to see those Christmas trees under there. They kind of disappear until you put that clear over them. So just a quick way to, now you can actually see them. All right, just dab out a little bit of that extra liquid. I'm going to set my pearl down, blend back, pivot my brush on the side, blend back, pivot my brush on the side, blend back. I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to start to press that pearl all the way down towards the free edge, getting nice even consistency or nice even thickness all the way from side to side. And then we'll just gently blend that out down to the free edge. I think I'm going to blend backwards just to pull a little bit more of that product back up to my arch. And this way I can thin and taper out that free edge a little bit more and build up a little bit more structure into that arch. All right, you guys, what do you think? Are you enjoying the Christmas trees? Is this something that you think you could do? Something fairly easy? Let me know. All right, you guys, I think I was going to do one more nail, but I do want to finish these up for you guys so that you can see the final look. And I think we're running a little bit lower on time. So I'm going to swap these out for our filed and finished nails. And that way you guys can see how I would actually finish these and kind of what colors I would add in to finish the set. So let me go ahead and set this off to the side. And you guys, y'all know that I love my swap outs. So by the magic of the internet, we're going to pop out these nails and we're going to replace them with some that are filed out and ready to finish. So again, that way you guys can see some options for finishing the sets. Now, you guys, I've got 2 nails that I've already done here. Actually, let's pop this one into, yeah, we'll just do that one here. So we've got 2 different ones that we did. This one I did just like I showed you guys on this last nail. I faded that from the cuticle forward. On this one, another option would be to just fade it from the free edge back. So however you want to create those nails, you can create those nails. And then to finish up the set, I'm going to add in 2 of just solid cover pink nails. And I'm going to pop those into the center. So you guys, this is kind of how I like to set out my full sets. I'll do a couple of dimensional nails. I'll do a couple of solid color nails. But you guys, you can do however you want to. But I just want to show you kind of some colors that I would maybe add in to finish these up. So all I've done on these nails, I filed them with my E-file and then with my 150 grit hand file. You don't need to buff them or anything. I'm just going to go through, dust those off. We're going to use our swipe once more to clean off that surface. And that's going to give you kind of that little sneak peek of our design under there. Clean that off, making sure that there's no dust, no germs, no nothing on there, making sure our nails are all nice and clean. Now, before we do our top coat, oh, you guys, did I lose you? Are we still here? I think we're still here. I hope we're still here. On my other screen looks like we paused for a second. Hopefully we're still here. All right. So before we do our top coat or our gel polish, I always like to go through with another coat of my protein bond, especially when I'm doing dimensional nails. I always find that the protein bond really helps to make the nails more glass-like. So you can really see all of that glitter and you can really see that dimension. So one more coat of our protein bond. And then, you guys, I've got 2 different red colors that I couldn't decide between them. So I'm going to show them both to you guys. So that way, when you do your designs, you can make your choices. So the first one I've got is called Combat Anime, which is more of a brighter kind of a red. I think that's going to be really fun for the holidays. And then we also have Love Heap, which is more of a deeper, I'm not going to say quite cranberry, but it's definitely a deeper red, and it's got a little bit more of a pearl look to it. So those are my options that I'm going to use. I'm actually going to put them both on here for you guys so that you can see both of them and see which one you like better. So let's go ahead and start with Love Heap. And when I'm working, especially on longer nails, you guys, a lot of times I will start in the center of the nail, brush forward, and then I'll make sure that I cap all the way around my edges. So that way I don't have any bare spots around the edges. And again, when you're working on longer nails, sometimes it is going to take you just a little bit more time. So make sure to schedule that into your appointments. But then I'm going to cap my free edge at this point. So this way, you guys, I always like to show this. When you cap your free edge, sometimes as you're brushing forward, you get a little bit of extra gel right at that edge. That's another reason that I start about halfway up. So that way when I work through and I go back a little farther on the nail and I'm polishing through, it's going to thin out and taper that free edge. So that way I don't have that extra bubble of gel at the end. Pick up a little bit more of your gel, maybe just a tiny little bit more there. And I'm going to come back towards my cuticle area. I'm going to put some pressure to your brush, fan out that brush a little bit, and then you can just kind of do a little wiggle right up to your cuticle area and then pull forward. That way you're going to get that really nice tight cuticle application right up in there. We're going to just sweep that brush down the side, pulling all the way through, making sure that I'm getting all the way to my edges. And same thing, notice that I turn the finger a little bit so I can see exactly where I'm brushing through, pulling all the way down the edge. Now you guys, a lot of times I'll actually take out some of that extra gel from my brush and I'll blend through one more time. This is how I get that really nice, even, consistent color all the way through the nail, okay? So just go through, take off the extra, and let me go ahead and open up our second red for you guys. So this one is the brighter color. So this one is called Combat Anime. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start about halfway up. I'm going to catch my edges, brush through, again, catch my edges, do my free edge, cap that free edge. We'll grab just a little bit more of that gel polish, kind of brushing through, press down my brush, fan that out, tuck that right up into the cuticle area, and then all the way down that side. And you guys, look at how rich these colors are. One thin coat is gonna have pretty good coverage. Now, most of the time I will still do 2 coats to get that really good solid coverage all the way through. But sometimes if you're in a hurry, 1 coat is gonna be good enough. But I don't like to apply them very thick because first of all, I wanna make sure that they're gonna cure properly, but I also don't wanna add any bulk to the nail. Okay? All right, we're gonna get that into our light here really quick. And get that going. Now, we're going to cure that in the light, and then we'll go ahead and do our second coat. But you guys, I need your help on this. First of all, we need to do our top coat chant in the chat, but we'll get to that in just a second. We've got 2 different top coats that I'm going to show you guys today. We've got our traditional gel polish top coat that is part of our new gel polish collection. This is an amazing top coat. It is a beautiful high shine finish, and it is also a tack-free top coat. So you don't have to do any cleansing. You don't have to wipe anything off of this. Once it's cured fully, it is cured fully, nothing to cleanse. So that's one option that you can use. Our other option is going to be our matte non-tack top coat. And this one I absolutely love because it's going to give you kind of that velvety matte finish on your nails. So we've got 2 different ones here. And you guys, what I need you to do, I want you to tell me, do we want shiny, do we want matte, or do we want both? Let me know in the chat. And then once we do our second coat, then we'll do our top coat chant in the chat. So don't let me forget that one either, okay? But let me know in the chat, do you want shiny, matte, or both? All right, so let's go ahead and do our second coat. But again, you guys, you can see even with that first coat, we've got really good coverage there. Now with my second coat, this one I actually do start up by my cuticle. So on my second coat, I don't cap my free edge again because again, I don't want to add any more bulk. So on this one, I just go right up to my cuticle area. So I always feel like with that first coat, that's going to be enough to cap that free edge. And that way, again, you're not adding bulk to the nail and you're still going to have that nice thin tapered look to it without adding any thickness to that free edge. All right, so we've got our first coat. Oops, not that one. You guys, yeah, somebody says, should we do a poll? You guys, I don't think we have time for a poll today. So we'll just do, I'll just kind of see what you guys are saying in the chat. And we'll get this one polished here. Again, making sure that I do cap my edges, making sure that I get a nice finished look all the way through those edges. Now you guys, if you have, let me show you here real quick, if you accidentally get a little bit of that color off on the side, maybe you have a little bit to touch up around the edges, we've got an amazing polish perfector detail brush that you can use. If you need to come around those edges, you can take a little bit of polish remover on there and use that right around those edges to clean up if you do need to do that. So that's an option there. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get that into the light one more time. And I'm going to take a look and see what you guys are saying in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of boths in there. Okay, so you guys want to see both the shiny and the matte top? Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. And before we do that, you guys, let's go ahead and start our top coat chant in the chat. If you are new to our channel, all we do is just a quick little type in top coat, top coat, top coat, and that's kind of how we how I know that I'm supposed to do my top coat, because you guys got to let me know. But also make sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community, get free education. And somebody says my birthday is coming up on the 20th. Happy birthday to you coming up. Happy celebrations. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at that already. Okay, so let's do, I think maybe let's do our shiny on the bright one. I think we'll do shiny on the bright one, and we'll do matte on the pearl. Now, you guys, a lot of times people shy away from doing the matte on pearl kind of looks like this one, but it is a whole different ball game. It's absolutely beautiful on the pearl look. So we'll go ahead and top coat our Christmas trees here. Actually, let me start down there, cap my free edge a little bit. So again, just doing our shiny top coat on our Christmas trees on our dimensional nail here. And now you can really start to see that glass look to the nail. So that really fun look all the way through down to that free edge. Let's go ahead and top coat this one all the way through. And then you guys, you're going to have to let me know in the chat which one is your favorite. Do you like the darker red? Do you like the brighter red? Or are the Christmas trees your favorite? Okay, let me go ahead and top coat this last one down here. And we'll get that one capped at our free edge. Grab a little bit more. Somebody says no matte on the shiny. You want the shiny on the pearl? Well, it's too late. You guys, if you like different options, make sure that you do these nails yourself, and then make sure to post them. You guys post them and tag Young Nails, so this way we can see exactly what you guys are doing, that you are using our inspiration and you are creating beautiful designs. We love to see it, you guys. We love to see that you guys are doing, you're taking our inspiration and making it your own. So definitely, guys, make this your own. Make this your own design. And oops, guys, you saw I did. I got a little bit of that product up on the side. I'm going to use my Polish Perfector brush there. Okay, let me pop those into the light. And we'll give those a quick cure. Now, you guys, both of these top coats are a 60-second cure. So they do need 60 seconds in the light to fully cure. I'm going to see if I can get them maybe just a quick 30 seconds so that way you guys can see the final look. But you do want to make sure that you are fully curing these. Once they are fully cured, both of these top coats are going to have that non-tack finish. So you don't have to worry about cleansing. You don't have to worry about using swipe or anything like that over the top of them. But one other thing I'm going to show you really quick, especially this time of year, you guys, you should be using this all year round, but especially this time of year, make sure that you're using and that your clients are using their cuticle oil. All you got to do, and I'm not going to put this on the trainer hand, but I'm going to put it on myself, but just add a little drop of that cuticle oil to each cuticle and then massage that in. So this way it's going to help to keep your cuticles hydrated. It's going to help to keep those enhancements nice and flexible. So that way in these cold, drier months, you're not going to end up with chipping and cracking and dry cuticles. Okay, so make sure to hit that with your cuticle oil. Oh, you guys, I think I dinged this on the way in, but you get the gist of it. I think I hit that right at the front, so I missed my little top coat, but you guys will be able to see the final look anyways. So let me go ahead and come in there nice and close. There you guys go. All right, you guys, which do you like better? Do you like the bright shiny or do you like the matte? You guys, I can't leave this. I gotta touch this one up. I can't just leave that with that little ding on the end. I want to show you guys a really nice finish on here. So I'm going to do one more coat. You guys, sometimes it happens. It's hard to tell exactly where you have your top coat if you got your top coat on there perfectly. So if you need to add another coat of top coat, not a big deal. Add that extra coat of top coat and just pop that into the light one more time. I'm going to get that back in there maybe for another 30 seconds and then I'll show you guys the final look. But let me know in the chat, do you like the bright one better? Do you like the matte finish better? Or are the Christmas trees your favorite? Let me know. I would love to know. Somebody says shiny. No more bling lights? No more bling? What? Wait a minute. Who says no more bling? I don't understand that, you guys. I don't understand no more bling. Okay, there we go. Now we got a better finish on that matte nail. So now you can see, let me come in really close. You can see that super fun hologram Christmas tree in there. You've got your matte finish on the pearl nail. You've got your bright red, and you've got the other glitter fade. All right, you guys, what do you think? The tree? You like the trees the best? All right, you guys, I think you're right on track with me. I like those trees the best too. So make sure to join us next time. You guys, make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Join us next time. We're going to keep doing some holiday nails here as we go, but make sure to subscribe so that you always know when we are going live. And we'll see you guys back next time. Thanks, everybody.